Have you heard of the amygdala hijack? This idea that your emotions are so overwhelming and powerful, they just take over your brain during stressful situations. It's a really catchy idea, but what if I told you that actually that is not the whole truth? Today, I'm breaking down the science behind what's happening when you experience this emotional reaction and how we can process stress differently, especially if you have an ADHD brain. I'm also going to tell you about a less well-known but crucial part of your brain that other people aren't talking about so much, but which is, say it quietly, the motivation switch for getting things done. Hey everyone, I'm Katherine and I'm here to help you understand your brain better and create a life where you work in harmony with it. Today we're going beyond the amygdala hijack myth and we are going to move in to understanding more about your amygdala and what's going on in the habenula. We're going to explore this tiny brain structure and how it impacts the way we process negative emotions, rewards, and what happens with ADHD. Stick around, because what you learn today might just change the way you think about your brain forever. Let's start by talking about the amygdala hijack. If you've read a book like Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman, or this one by Travis Bradbury and Dr. Jane Graves, you will know that the amygdala hijack was this way of explaining just how overwhelming and out of control our brains could feel when we were under an emotional stressor. And it was like, I can't think straight, my amygdala has taken over, so my reaction is based on my emotion rather than my logic brain. It's a really compelling idea and it makes sense, but it's really oversimplified. And new research tells us it isn't the amygdala taking over, it's a really complex network of different parts of your brain. And one of the key players is a teeny tiny part called the habenula. The habenula's job is to process negative outcomes and it essentially decides whether you do something or not. If your habenula is in overdrive, you might find that you are avoiding simple daily tasks like opening an email, answering a phone call, going to the post office, anything that makes you feel slightly uncomfortable. Those of us with ADHD, the habenula can become overactive, hypersensitive, especially when it comes to perceived rejection or failure. I am like a peach. I bruise so easily if I feel like I'm being rejected, or if I feel like I've failed and let people down or let myself down. I haven't been, I'm not, but my brain is really anxious to make sure I never feel any of those things. And research shows your habenula is heavily involved in how we process negative stimuli when we are rejected, or when we do get a telling off, or we do let somebody down. The habenula in ADHD is so sensitive, it turns the volume up on that way beyond what is necessary for a daily task and says, I'm never going to try that again because that was so painful. And it is literally painful because your habenula removes the production of dopamine. It switches off the dopamine production. And that means that your brain is in pain. It doesn't have the nice neurotransmitter soup that makes us feel good, that allows us to do things. And so the avoidance that's often associated with ADHD, like not opening emails, not answering the phone, it's all connected to avoiding discomfort. And that is your habenula in charge. Well, what can we do about this? Thankfully, apart from just thinking about our thinking, we can deal with the habenula as a physical part of our brain. And there are structures and strategies that can help you right now. One of the most effective is mindfulness. It doesn't have to be sitting down, meditating, getting out the yoga blocks, anything like that, which is great if you can do it. And lots of people with ADHD can. But for me, something like the practice of the present moment and just bringing myself back to where I am with literally a 1 second breath in and out is enough to tell my habenula that I'm not in pain, this isn't dangerous, I'm actually okay and I can do this. All of that in 1 second, and over time it starts to reduce the sensitivity and overreaction of your habenula. My favourite one is using instant positive reinforcement. When we are anticipating something being negative or painful, We associate it with bad feelings, with pain. Remember, your brain is literally run out of the nice stuff. When we add it back, then we make the connection with that task and something good happening. So it might be that you suddenly have a confetti button that pops up when you send an email. I love that so much. It makes no sense, but my brain sees the confetti, the colour, the movement, and thinks, whoa, I just sent an email. That's brilliant. You can do the same when you finish a task. There are so many apps now that can give you a positive reinforcement, but something like that, which is instant, easy to get, that is going to encourage your dopamine to keep going. And over time, it says to the Habenula, see, you can do this. You did it before. And you got the confetti. Keep going. That's a technique that I've used myself over several years with things that I found difficult. And it really has made a huge difference. Yes, there are still times when I struggle. It's never going to be as easy for me as it is for other people. But I can make progress because my brain learns and changes with everything that I tell it and everything that I do. If this has resonated with you and you are like me, you're avoiding things and now you know why, I would be so grateful if you could give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I share content that is going to tell you all about your brain, ADHD, and how you can work with it instead of feeling like you have to be fighting and arguing all the time and making guilt and shame the way that you get stuff done. Let's leave that and focus on how we can do things in a way that feels good. I've got more videos about emotional regulation on the way and some in my podcast. I will link them below. You've got this. You're already making changes because you're watching this. You're learning how to change your language and your behavior. Thank you again for spending time with me. Until the next one, stay curious, stay powerful, and take care of yourself.